Examples of how you could use substitution in order to figure out the answers to some of these Explorer questions. Number 1, or actually number 7, because again, these are going to go in kind of a goofy number order because I pulled them from all kinds of different practice resources. So sorry about that. But number 7 is asking, the following table shows the distance from a point to a moving car at various times. So D stands for distance, T stands for time. If the speed is constant, which of the following equations describes the distance from the point to the car? So in other words, if A is correct, that means that your distance is going to be equal to 25 times your time, because the 25 is sitting next to the T. That means for all of these numbers, T, time. If you multiply them by 25, you should get their respective distances, that is, D. So let's just use substitution, take our answers that are given to us, and see if it works. So for the first one we've got here, time is 2 and distance is 5. So I'm going to substitute in 2 for time. 2 times 25 gives us 50, which is in fact the number that goes with the 2. So that makes me think that that could be the right answer. The tricky thing about these function table questions, though, is that it might work for one, but it won't work for all of them. And in order for it to be the right answer, it's got to work for all of them. So now I'm going to take a 3, put it in here for the time. 3 times 25, that would be 75, not the 70 that is in the table. So that means since A doesn't work for all of them, that means it's not going to work at all for an answer. So I can already tell 35T, 35 times 2 is 70, not 50. So I know that that one's out. And 55 times time, 55 times 2 is 110, not the 50 we would get here. Maybe this one's going to work. D equals 20T plus 10. So I'm going to take my 2, put it in for time. 2 times 20 is 40. 40 plus 10 is in fact the 50 that I need for this, but as we've seen, it doesn't work for all of them all the time. So let's double check and see what this said. So I'm going to put in 3 for T. 3 times 20 is 60. 60 plus 1 is 70. So yes, D is the correct answer for number 1. Scrolling down a little bit. Now number 19 is a doozy. It really is. But you can use some substitution and figure out the right answer. So it's saying, what is the value of y if all of this stuff is true? If 3 over y minus 5 is the same thing or is equal to 15 over y plus 4. So this is kind of like you're unsimplifying a fraction, because 3 times 5 gives you 15. That means that for down here, whatever y minus 5 ends up being, you have to be able to also multiply this by 5 to get the number that's underneath the 15. Kind of like unsimplifying a fraction. So so you can really kind of just take the bottom part of this equation, because I know that 3 times 5 gives me 15. So whatever this y minus 5 is, I got to be able to multiply it by 5 to end up with whatever y plus 4 is. So let me try and substitute in my first answer. So if y happens to be 45, like A suggests, 45 minus 5 is 40. And then 45 plus 4, okay, that's 49. So 40 times 5 does not give me 49. So that answer can't be right. Remember, in order for this to work, whatever y minus 5 ends up being, I have to be able to multiply it by 5 and get whatever y plus 4 is. So that's not going to work. Let me try option B, 54. So 54 minus 5 would give me 49 for this side. And 54 plus 4 would give me 58. Okay, 49 times 5 is not 58. So again, B is out. So even if you're scared of these fractions, you can at least take a 1 out of 3 shot and guess that, because one of these 3 has to be right. So now I'm going to use, but of course we shouldn't be scared of fractions because we learned earlier how to use the fraction button on our calculator. So I'm going to put in 29. So I'm going to put in my calculator 29 over 4. Remember, that's 29, fraction button, 4. Remember to scoot your little blinking cursor over, minus 5. If I put 29 over 4 minus 5, I get 2 and 1/4. That's what my calculator is going to give me. If I take 29 over 4 and add 4 to it, again, put 29, fraction button, 4, plus 4. You guys should be trying this with me. So go back and do 29 over 4 minus 5. Make sure you got 2 and 1/4. Then 29 over 4 plus 4. If you did it right, you should have gotten 11 and 1/4. Now let's try and see if this works. Remember, if this is the right answer, I need to be able to do 2 and 1/4 times 5, and it'll give me 11 and 1/4. To put that in your calculator, don't forget, do your parentheses, 2 plus 1/4. Then multiply that times 5, and let's see if it gives you 11 and 1/4. I'm going to give everybody a minute to try that. Is 2 and 1/4 times 5 11 and 1/4? Yes, it is. So we know that the answer is going to be C for number 19. So don't let these fractions scare you, because all you have to do is put fractions in your calculator and it'll do it for you. No excuse for letting those fractions get under your skin. Number 22, I know a bunch of us probably just already know how to solve this one, because we know that we need to get that x by itself. We need to add 4 to each side. X is equal to 11. However, some of us might not be so good at solving equations, so that's when you can use your substitution method. So let me go back. 11 minus 4 equals 7. So I could take all the answers that are given to me and put them into the problem. So instead of x minus 4, I'll put negative 11 minus 4. Now my calculator is going to tell me that that's negative 15, not the 7 that I want to get on the other side. So I know that one's not right. So that can't be it. Now I'm going to substitute in a 3. 3 minus 4 is a negative 1, not the 7 that I'm looking for. So I know that that one's not right. But then, of course, I probably would have tried my next option, which was 11. 11 minus 4 is, in fact, that 7 that I'm looking for. So that's another reason through substitution that I know that answer is correct. 23, same idea. A lot of us probably already know we could subtract 3 from both sides. That'll get us x is equal to negative 8. But another thing you could do is use substitution. So I'm going to take my x plus 3, and I'm going to substitute the 8 in. 8 plus 3 is 11, not the negative 5 that I want to come out on the other side. So I know that that one's not right. Now let me try this. Negative 8. Negative 8 plus 3 is in fact a negative 5, which is what I wanted to come out on the other side. So that is another reason that G would be the correct answer. Scrolling down. I've got 3x plus 5 equals 11, and they're asking you to figure out what x is equal to. A lot of you guys might know how to solve a two-step equation already. Simply subtract 5 from both sides. 3x is equal to 6. Divide both sides by 3. X is equal to 2. Let's say we've forgotten how to solve equations, though. You can still use substitution. So let's say I take a guess that 6 is the right answer. So instead of doing 3 times x, I'm going to do 3 times 6. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 5, well, that's 23, not 1, like I want to come on one side. So that one is out. So now I'll try, instead of 3 times x, I'll try 3 times 3, because that's option B. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 5, nope, that's 14, not the one that I'm looking for. So substituting a 3 in didn't work. So let's try our third option. So instead of 3 times x, we'll do 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 5 is 11, which is, in fact, the number that we were looking for on the other side of our equal sign. So just like in reading and language arts, guys, substituting in the options that they give you really can help you to figure out the right answer, even if you're not sure exactly how to solve the problem the way we do in class. Last but not least, we're going to look at example 20. And it says, if x equals 0.3, which of the following values of y must make the equation true? So first of all, I'm going to get this x out of here. And because they actually tell us that x is equal to 0.3. So this is what I'm going to put into my calculator, guys. I'm going to put 5, then I'm going to hit the times button, 0.3, the caret, and 2. Remember, it's kind of like 0.3 lifted up to the second power. If I put that into my calculator, I'm going to give you guys a second to try it on your own too. So if you put it in exactly like this, your calculator will do the order of operations for you. It'll actually do the exponent first, then it'll go back and it'll do the multiplication. So put in your calculator exactly what I have. Don't forget your little caret button. Now, if you put everything into your calculator correctly, you should have gotten 0.45 for this whole 5x squared. So now 0.45 plus y is going to give you 9.2. A lot of you guys might know how to solve this one-step equation. You simply take off the 0.45. Don't forget to use your calculator. Do 9.2. You've got it there for a reason. We're going to use it, especially when you start dealing with these tricky decimals. You should have gotten y is equal to 8.75. So our answer should be H. Be careful. What a lot of people might have done is not lined up their decimals and subtracted this 2 minus 5. So just put it in your calculator. Once we start dealing with all these fractions and decimals, it's so easy to make a mistake. So just very carefully put it in there, and you should be able to get the right answer. So now that we've done some group practice problems on substitution, your teacher is going to give you some time to complete some independent substitution practice problems, and then we'll come back together as a group and check your answers.